It's too late! It's too late! Oh my God!
In almost all of Florida's freshwater areas lies a hidden danger, the silent and deadly alligator. But people living around lakes and ponds can become less cautious. Sometimes accidents happen. The retirement community of Spanish Lakes Fairways was established in the mid-1980s. Located in Fort Pierce, Florida, it spans 435 acres and is home to around 3,000 residents. One of the residents of Spanish Lakes Fairways was Gloria Serge. She had moved there nearly 30 years ago. It was a place where people over 55 years old could enjoy retirement and relax in a scenic setting. With facilities such as a heated swimming pool, tennis courts, a golf course, a gym, a sauna, pickleball courts, a restaurant, a retention pond, and a dog park, it had everything anyone could ever wish for. The retention pond was a central point where the community was encouraged to socialize, walk around the edge, and even fish from the banks or in small wooden boats. One of the pond's inhabitants was Henry, a 10-foot-long alligator. Unlike most freshwater springs in Florida, this pond had no warning signs about the presence of alligators. Although many residents knew Henry, he was generally considered a quiet animal that had never caused problems in the 37 years that Spanish Lakes had existed. Henry was well known to locals, who often fed him scraps of food and chicken from the grassy banks. Despite being treated as a community pet, Henry remained a dangerous and potentially life-threatening predator, and it was only a matter of time before something happened. Gloria lived alone. She owned her property at 14313 Aguila Avenue, Fort Pierce. She was a widow with 5 adult children and also blessed with 15 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. She was the head of the family, and it was clear just how much her loved ones meant to her. But Gloria was also a beloved member of the gated community. She and her husband Charlie, who passed away several years before, were renowned for helping others in the area. Charlie had been in charge of bocce, or boule, for the residents, and the couple enjoyed playing it together. Gloria was also very active in the community's New Jersey Club for former residents of the state. One of Gloria's loves in life was her beloved dog Trooper. He was a Shih Tzu, black and white, and full of energy. Taking Trooper for a walk was one of Gloria's daily activities, but she had received a violation and eviction warning after being found walking him outside her front yard and along the streets. Dogs were discouraged from being walked in the streets and in non-designated areas of the community. Wynn Building Corporation, who owned and operated Spanish Lakes, were strict on where dogs could be exercised, and despite having lived in the community for almost 3 decades, Gloria was given no special treatment. She would have to walk Trooper around the pond just like everybody else. But Gloria was skeptical about walking her dog there. She didn't feel safe having to walk so close to the retention pond. Henry was just one of a number of resident alligators in the pond. Gloria was right to feel nervous about the designated dog walking area. It was late morning on Monday, February 20th, 2023. Gloria stepped outside her home with Trooper and walked towards the pond. It was a sunny day. The surface of the pond was deceptively calm. As Gloria stopped to let Trooper sniff by the water's edge, a bow wave began silently but deadly motoring towards her. The danger stalked closer from over 100 feet away. Only a pair of nostrils and bulging eyes could be seen, gliding steadily in Gloria's direction. But Gloria seemed unaware of the impending danger. She looked along the edge of the pond, lost in thought. She was, however, only seconds away from an attack. A CCTV camera captured the bow wave heading straight for the pensioner and her dog. When the wave reached the shore, an alligator burst out of the water onto the land. It was Henry. Although he didn't capture the dog immediately, he chased after it. The alligator was remarkably quick on dry land. Only when it was next to Gloria did she realize what it was and what was going on. But the dog was secured on a leash. In a few horrifying seconds, Gloria tried to pull the dog away as the alligator scuttled past her. Trooper was the target. Trooper was the prey. The tiny dog jumped out of the way, But when Gloria pulled on the leash, she slipped and fell forward, landing on the ground right next to the 10-foot-long reptile. The alligator turned its head, snapped its jaws, and grabbed Gloria by her left foot. In an instant, she was dragged across the ground to the water. With a bite force of more than 2,000 psi, it felt like her foot was in a vice. Gloria could not break free as she was pulled toward the pond. Her 76-year-old neighbor, Carol Thomas, looked out of her bedroom window. It was about 12 p.m. and she had seen the whole thing. Carol rushed outside and towards the lake, but Gloria had disappeared. She immediately dialed 911, screaming down the phone for help. A second later,
Alligator has a woman. How big is it? It's a huge gator. It's huge.
Gloria came up for air, gasping and splashing around in the water. She wiped her hair out of her face, unable to see clearly, trying desperately to pull herself towards dry land. But the alligator still had hold of her leg, under the water. "Gloria, swim toward the paddle boat," yelled Carol. She was pointing at an upturned boat in the edge of the pond. If the elderly woman could get onto that, then Carol felt she could pull her ashore. But Gloria shouted that she couldn't break free. "I can't. The gator has me," she said. With millions of years of hunting instinct behind it, the 700-pound, 300-kilogram alligator wasn't letting go. Carol looked around desperately for something that could help. She grabbed a wrought iron pole that was used for hanging outdoor plants. She thought she might be able to reach Gloria. She thought she might be able to hit the alligator on the snout or distract it somehow, maybe even stab it in the eyes. But when she turned back to the water with the pole in her hands, Gloria had disappeared. She had been dragged beneath the surface once more, but this time, however, she never resurfaced. Emergency services arrived on scene within a few minutes. Sheriff Ken Mascara and his team located Gloria's body shortly afterwards. The alligator released her, but tragically, she had drowned. Wildlife experts and a professional trapper were sent to the site to capture Henry. Suddenly, the entire community was flooded with people trying to understand the situation and capture the responsible alligator. A helicopter circled overhead, while teams on boats headed to the lakeshore. They found the alligator at the bottom of the pond, caught it, and dragged it to shore. 6 people wrestled with the alligator, securing its jaws and limbs with ropes, before loading it into the trunk of a pickup truck to take it away for euthanasia. Gloria's dog trooper had survived the attack and came away unscathed. Over the following days, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission cleared the pond of 4 more alligators. With more than 1.3 million alligators across Florida, these dangerous reptiles are thought to inhabit nearly every body of fresh water in the state. Following the tragedy, wildlife experts reiterated the importance of keeping a safe distance from water edges and staying at least 15 to 20 feet away from an alligator if one is spotted. However, for Gloria, this advice had come too late. Despite the huge number of alligators in Florida, attacks remain relatively rare. Over a 73-year period from 1948 to 2021, there were 442 unprovoked incidents, 26 of which resulted in loss of human life. The past decade has averaged 8 unprovoked bites per year, serious enough to require medical treatment. Despite the fact that most residents in the community knew about the presence of the alligators, Gloria's family filed a lawsuit. They were shocked, saddened, and haunted by the way in which Gloria met her untimely end. But above all, they felt that her passing was entirely avoidable. There were no signs warning of the dangers of alligators in the water, and worst of all, they believed Gloria had been compelled to walk her dog in a hazardous area due to the estate's strict dog walking rules. According to the family's attorneys, Spanish Lakes knew of dangerous alligators and did nothing. They could have warned their residents. They could have had the alligator removed. Instead, they encouraged the residents to go to the shore of the retention pond with community benches and sent them to where the alligators are. This was going to happen. It was preventable. The lawsuit seeks more than $50,000 in damages, but the amount is ultimately left to a jury. The dog exercise area that the owners of the estate, Wynn Building Corporation, insisted Gloria walked Trooper at was located more than a mile from her home. For this reason, her family felt like she was given no choice but to walk her dog around the pond. She walked Trooper 3 times a day, and so making the journey to the exercise area just wasn't practical for her. Wynn Building Corporation, the defendants in the case, also appeared to encourage people to spend time in and around the water, despite knowing that several large alligators lived there. They had placed benches on the banks, allowed fishing from the edges and from small boats, and allowed people to walk their dogs there. They were also aware that the residents fed the alligators, and they themselves and their employers also did on occasion. This likely socialized the alligators to human contact, teaching the animals to associate people with food, as well as downplaying the danger they posed to the public. In the end, it was the way in which Gloria was taken from them that haunted her family the most. Her son, Bill Serge, cannot shake the horrifying thought of his mother's final moments and what must have been going through her mind as she fought for survival. No child should have to bury their mom under such horrible circumstances, he said. Gloria's funeral was held on February 28, 2023, at St. Francis de Chantal RC Church in New York. It was a somber occasion where family and friends gathered to honor her memory and celebrate her well-lived life. Gloria Serge's untimely passing has left an indelible mark on her family and the community of Spanish Lakes Fairways. As her family continues to seek justice through their lawsuit, they aim to prevent similar tragedies in the future and hold accountable those responsible for the conditions that led to Gloria's fatal encounter.